Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm just going to do a little information on the Pisces new, I meant full moon. I got to take that down. I put new moon. Well, we planted in the new moon back about 6 months ago. And so, whatever you planted during the new moon in Pisces 6 months ago is coming up in a harvest moon this day today. Now we've been in this energy already. Some people have seen um, through the full moon energy, which is a release, that things and people are leaving. There's exposures to unkind situations, exposure to kindly situations. But Pisces is a energy that's connected to the church. There are people that don't know that, and there are people that do know it. When you see the Pisces energy on cars, and it's connected to Christians, make the connection with the symbol of the fish. So there is a lot of information that's missed for people, and that I don't really want to teach a class because I do those every Thursday on moon energy, which will give you a little bit of understanding of why we behave erratic under the moon. So if any moon comes up and it's attached to, say, like your sun or your rising, you can experience erratic behaviors, emotional upheavals, triggering easier than other times. For instance, someone that's having a Pisces sun and a Pisces rising could experience emotions, but those emotions are just bringing in an awareness to release anything that seems unhealthy, any memories that feel unhealthy. The Pisces full moon, again, is what we want to talk about, because in my moon class, I've already taught them that they were planting in the new moon. So they're watching for a harvest. So anyone 6 months ago, around the end of February, beginning of March, there was a new moon in Pisces. And so that newness means plant. You're sowing your seeds, just like Jesus talks about in the Bible of sowing and reaping. So here is the harvest moon in Virgo, the Pisces um, new moon. I meant full moon, excuse me, because that's Mercury's energy. You know, kind of like having me go really quick. I got to slow down. So the new moon or the full moon in Pisces is saying release. And that release is being pulled in by the energies of the tide, because we're all connected to water. Um, we're about 70 to 80% water, which leads into other conversations. But to keep steady with this one, the tides transmit subconscious ideas and thoughts and memories that we've had. And the tide is actually saying to release it at this time in the full moon. It's saying, I'm pulling back and forth because I want you to understand that it's a pull for you to let this go. What you're looking at is not serving you anymore. The emotional, social, and biological aspects of who we are come up under the Pisces energy, because they deal with political issues, incarcerations, institutionalization, meaning institutions, marriage, any institution, schools that you can think of. And it's not service to us anymore. If it's not serving us, what they do, how they function, if it doesn't serve, then those things are pulling at our heart, saying, how do I get out of this? Or, what am I going to do with this? If it's a bill, what am I going to do with this bill? Because bills are connected to institutions, whoever your bill collector is. Moving on from there, we want to look at the full moon also to help as in women when they have their cycle, they release. And so this moon is releasing. Once it moves over into Aries, tomorrow or 2 days from now, I believe. Anyway, once it moves over into Aries, what's going to happen is that it's going to become empty. And so that means that we're going to fill it up again. What are we going to fill it up with? It's a question, because as I've stated all of these ideas, you're going to look at where Pisces is in your chart and begin to look at what that house says to you. In my house, there are many mansions, and here we are. So we're very connected to the Bible, even though people don't want to accept it, and they don't want to accept it because the Piscean era told us something. And some of us came back here in this life to reveal the somethings that are not sufficient to our better being or well-being, how we move and how our generations go on. I hope that you're with me. And so, on an economic, biological, and social stand, the Pisces era, you want to document era because we've lived um not we, but there's been eras. There's a golden era attached to I think it's Leo. There is the Aquarian era, which everyone is fighting because they haven't experienced it yet, but someone did. The Saturnian era. There's eras that are indicative to what that time of the age will bring for everyone. So the Piscean era is actually leaving. And Jesus did tell the disciples over in Luke 21:22. You read 21 and 22. He said, go meet the man with the water pitcher, which is connected to the water bearer. Regardless if you want to fight the conversation or not, if you're not getting any movement in life, you want to look at that so that you can understand that there's going to be and has been a pouring out of the Holy Spirit. Now, the Holy Spirit is wholeness. So in the Aquarian age, people can become whole because they take their identity back. They take their identity from once someone else gave them, and they begin to look at who they really are from the heart center, which is what Jesus was giving us, right? And I have to go there because my education and my understanding comes from the Bible first. I studied theology, and then I was sent into psychology, and then I was sent into astrology. And so what I found is the connection. And for me, the connection, it stemmed from mental health issues in my own family. I could begin to see mental health issues in the chart of people. This is science and this is spirituality, right? Some people will say something other. However, I am on my life path and I'm following it. Why? Because it will encourage people that they can actually change, but it's going to be a deep change. Even Ezekiel said he's like a wheel in the middle of the wind. Well, what is this wheel? Now you come back and tell me. But when a woman has her period, her menstrual cycle, it releases toxins from her body. And the reason why it does that is because there is the buildup from her ovaries, her estrogen, and all of the anatomy that's cycling through because she is the one that carries the seed in the womb. And the seed that is not used is being released, and her body is being washed for purification, you know, to release that under the moon cycles. That's why a woman has a period at least every 28 days until she goes through menopause. So the tide is speaking with the body. And men release seeds as well, not just in sexuality or having intercourse or ejaculating. Yeah, I love to go into that. But they also release seeds because there is a cycle of timing in their body. It just doesn't show as the woman's show. See, we've always been in a place where everything is shown or told. And that's not to separate men and women, but to say that even men, when you start looking and researching, you'll find that they actually have cycles. That's why they change at certain times. We change mentally and we change physically and we change around the ovaries because we are hormonal. So we have to learn how to discipline those hormones. And it's not as easy as it is for men, right? And I'm not saying that men are not challenged with emotional problems. I'm saying that they can cover it a little bit more. Women will have sporadic challenges and erratic. And so in the Pisces full moon energy, people that are working in self-development spiritually, they're releasing. Some are releasing and they don't even know. Some have, relationships, friendships, and acquaintance that they are no longer a part of. It could come back into being, but then we have Mercury there. So you want to watch for how Mercury is taking you back to about 3 months ago, but also 2 years ago with Aries being in Mercury. So to sum up this full moon, whatever emotions, um, emotions, traumas, heartaches, anything that you have personally, you could begin to meditate and pray and just focus on that and watch yourself release it as you will too. It's like, thy will be done, the Father says. Well, you connect with the Father and you can really release that if you allow yourself to become uncomfortable and then be comforted. And then you can move on from wherever you've been. A lot of people have been stuck in trauma. They've been stuck in their belief systems, traditions. This is a time where a lot of people are losing their traditions. People that have, lost family members. The tradition breaks when family members are lost, especially matriarchs and patriarchs. That's a Piscean energy. So we could go on, but wherever Pisces is in your chart, then you want to look at it and say, how is this moon influencing me? How can I get better? And how you can get better is to actually work with your mind and say, why am I holding on to resentment, anger, bitterness? Galatians 5:19 through that whole chapter is very important for the fruit, for your authentic self to come forward, which is love, peace, joy, and happiness. It's possible. What else would I say here? Remember the release of the period, because that's the toxic part of who the woman is, or the toxins that's in a man is released through him actually expressing himself in a healthy way, So we have two ways. We can verbalize it nicely, ladies, nicely. And then we're training ourselves too, because you're going to use affirmations. But then the other thing is that you're going to see that your body functions off of the moon energy, because women, goddess, the connection, Cancer energy, we are women, and that is the function of the earth and the fertility and the release of any toxins, tilling of the soil. The release of at the full moon time is where you get a cleansing every month, right? You get that cleansing every month when you have your cycle. So if you put it together, then you'll be on chart with the moons and bringing wholeness and healing into your life. And by the time that new moon in Pisces comes again around February next year or March, you will begin to see a different person. If you start working on meditation right now, men and women, you will begin to see a different person every day. So it takes 30 days for something to be consistent in you. And I dare you to change any behavior that you see as malefic or not serving you in the next 30 days, and email me at ifwbuilders@gmail.com. So that's personal, but remember, institutions, people are going to be walking away from institutions. They're going to be walking away from believing in systems that are old and outdated. And so if you want any more information or be a part of our groups, every Thursday we meet at 6:30 Eastern, discussing these things. The Aries new moon will be coming up, and that's going to be about 2.5 weeks from now. So I will see you again. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being a part. Thank you for evolving. Blessings.